Hi, this is Steve Smith from westandclear.com, and I just got back from the Amon Museum where I finished a tour of the special exhibition Intimate Modernism, Fort Worth Circle Artists in the 1940s. And I was already familiar with a lot of the names and some of the work of the artists going into this exhibit, but it was illuminating because I really didn't know the backstory of the Fort Worth Circle artists. I assumed that they were a part of the same regional art movement from the 30s, 40s, and 50s that brought about the Dallas Nine artists like Jerry Bywaters. But really, I found out that the Fort Worth Circle artists were more of a reaction to that than a part of it. They were much younger and they were interested more in abstract art, surreal subjects, and trying to go a little farther out than most of the traditional Texas regionalists of the time. The nucleus of the group was four artists: Leah Quilty, Veronica Heffensteller, Marjorie Johnson, and Bror Utter. And just before World War II, Dixon Reeder, who had been a high school classmate of Utter's, moved back to Fort Worth along with his wife Flora. And Reeder really became the leader of the group. They were inspired by a shared interest in art, dance, music, theater, and myth. And here in this clip, one of the curators of the exhibit, Scott Barker, explains a little bit more about Reeder and his work.
This particular artwork is called All Hallows Eve by Dixon Reeder. Reeder's a really interesting guy. He was born in Fort Worth in 1912. He and his wife really provided the social glue that held the artists of Fort Worth Circle together. They were a very avant-garde couple, and many people wanted to be close to them. This painting is so representative of what he was capable of. Reeder was trained as a professional portrait artist, but he always was looking for ways to break the envelope. And in paintings like this, he's telling us, I'm a portrait painter, but I'm not like any portrait painter you ever saw. And so he was able to really spread his wings and discover new ways of depiction. He was a master storyteller, and I think that was one of his strong points. And his ability to tell stories comes out in paintings like this because it's a painting with a narrative. There's a story here as well as very interesting images, and it's up to you to find out what that narrative might be. So even though you have to fill in the words, his storytelling abilities are still very evident in All Hallows Eve. This painting was sent down to Corpus Christi in 1945. Reeder entered it in an art exhibition, a competitive exhibition there, sponsored by the Corpus Christi Caller-Times, and it won first prize. So Dixon Reeder earned a $1,000 payday off of this painting, but the downside was that it stayed in Corpus. Has not been in Fort Worth since then, so this is the first time since 1945 this painting's been seen here.
Dixon Reeder might have been the leader of the Fort Worth Circle artists, but Bror Utter is probably the best remembered, most collected of all these artists. He really is the best example of maybe any Texas abstract mid-century painter or printmaker. Here is another one of the exhibit's curators, Jane Myers, talking about one of her favorite prints from Bror Utter.
These are two of the works featured in the exhibition. And the one on the top is by Bror Utter. The one on the bottom is by Leah Quilty. They're two of the 11 artists featured in the exhibition, a member of the Circle. And one thing that they share is the fact that the Circle imagery often had this very precarious balance between abstraction and realism. So there's certain aspects of each of these that are representational, but they can also be seen as exercises in color and design. The one by Bror Utter has a wonderful, rich pastel-like palette. It's a reminiscent of some three-dimensional entity. It could be a grand piano, it could be a chair. It's very imaginative, and many of the Fort Worth artists drew deeply from their imagination to execute some of these pictures.
Another one of the Fort Worth Circle artists that I was really intrigued by was Bill Bomar. And you'll get to see him in the exhibit because Dixon Reeder painted this really fantastic, moody picture of him. And Bomar came from fairly well-to-do Fort Worth family. His father went to Yale and was an athlete. His mother was a society matron. And Bill suffered from cerebral palsy, and it kept him from using his right hand. And he never really lived up to the expectations that his parents had for him. But he ended up producing some really fantastic art. He did these wonderful Modigliani-inspired portraits and went on to produce these really surreal, abstract paintings that are gorgeous. They're for the 1940s in Texas, quite unusual and unique. So just to wrap all this up, I think this exhibit tells a couple of really great stories. One is about a group of friends who came together to create great art, but I think the other story is about Fort Worth. It's a story about a community that embraced the progressive artwork that this group was doing. And I'm inspired by that because I can see the unbroken line from the 1940s to today. I still see a strong willingness in this town to support art that takes chances, and I'm glad that I live in a city like that. So get on down there, take a look at this exhibit. It's really well done. The Carter did a fantastic job with it. So this is Steve Smith from westonclear.com saying, see you later.